Welcome back to Roll for Recipe, the series where the dice are the head chef. I'll roll for ingredients and then make a dish with them. Let's go. First up, D8 restriction roll. 3 specific cuisine. Which cuisine are we cooking? 6 Greek. And we've updated the protein to a D10 roll now, so let's see what we get with it. And that's a 2 turkey. Not typical Greek as I think of it, but I think I can work with it. And a D6 roll for carb. 3 pasta. All right, we might be visiting spaghetti and meatballs here a little bit. Now 2d12 for produce. That's 2 asparagus and 6 corn. Nothing too weird there. And finally, the D20 wild magic roll. That's an 11 soy sauce. All right, that's gonna be a little interesting to work with. So today we gotta cook a Greek-themed dish using turkey, pasta, asparagus, corn, and soy sauce. Let's get cooking. All right, at first I wasn't too sure how soy sauce in Greek were gonna work, but after some research, I found a dish called avgolomeno. I think I'm mispronouncing that probably, but anyway. It's basically a chicken soup with rice or orzo, so I figure I'm gonna use orzo as the pasta and I'll replace the chicken with turkey, and this might actually work. The soup typically has a lemon egg mixture added to it, along with some fresh dill and other herbs, so it should have some nice Greek flavors in there. Important thing to note here is that you need to temper the eggs first for this soup. If you've ever made a custard, you know what I'm talking about here. Basically, you're pouring a bit of the hot broth into the eggs before you add the eggs into the soup. This is gonna help prevent the egg from scrambling the moment it hits that hot liquid. Unfortunately, I did have some camera issue today and ended up missing a couple of shots, like shredding the chicken or adding the egg mixture to the soup, so apologies for that. I added some fresh dill and oregano to finish it, and honestly, it looks pretty good. All right, it looks like a pretty good soup, so let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Honestly, that's just a really good soup. You have a lot of depth of flavor here. There's the saltiness and the umami from the soy sauce. You have the sweetness from the corn. I added a little bit of red pepper flakes during the cooking to kind of give a little bit of a kick. That's my own personal preference. You don't have to do that. I also love the flavors of the fresh dill and the fresh oregano. They really work in this. I'm gonna add a little more soy sauce and see what happens. All right, you can probably see it's a little darker now. I added a little more soy sauce into there. Being honest, it kind of tastes better. I thought that was gonna conflict with the dill and the oregano, but it works. All right, guys, episode 10, and we have our first 10 out of 10. I literally cannot find a fault with this soup. I'm gonna call it Aegean Ambrosia because that just feels like a very appropriate name for this. It was light and flavorful, which is what you want in a soup, and it had enough depth and complexity to just really sing on the palate. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and follow, and I'll see you next time.